My church people, we're in the fivefold ministry. That's your fivefold ministry. Be fruitful, multiply, repent the earth. So do it, have dominion. Those are God's first words, first recorded words to mankind. Now, verse 5, chapter 2. Verse 5, chapter 2. When there was no bush or no small plant, Scripture says, that would spring up, God did two things. Number one, there's two reasons why that wasn't there, pardon me. There's two reasons why there was no bush or small plant. The Scripture says, number one, God had not caused it to rain. Okay, notice that. He had not caused it to rain. And then number two, there was no man to work the ground. So the reason why there was no bush or no small plant, Genesis 2:5 says that number one, God had not caused it to rain. And number two, there was no man to work the ground. Verse 6 then says, God caused a mist to come up all over all the earth and to begin to water the ground. Verse 7 then says, God formed man from the dust of the ground, breathed in his nostrils, but the life man became a living soul. Verse 8 then says that God planted a garden east in Eden and put the man there that he had formed. Okay? So God plants the garden, puts the man in the garden. Then notice verse number 9, that out of the ground all these pleasant trees that were good for the sight came out of the garden. They were planted there in the garden. And then it shows us that there were two trees particularly that were in the middle of the garden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Verse 10 then says, there is a wellspring that's in the garden. It comes up out of the ground. It becomes 4 different rivers. Verse 11 through 14 shows us there are mineral deposits in those rivers, and these are used for resources for man. So man has resources that he's able to utilize. And then at verse 15, God took the man that he had formed and he put the man in the Garden of Eden. And we know why God put the man there. Is to keep the garden and to work the garden. So he's to keep the garden and he is to work the garden. Verse 16, the Lord says that, and 17, that he has a law. You can eat every tree you want to eat of. Only one tree you can't eat of. It's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And we saw that tree planted in verse number 9. Verse number 18, God said it's not good for man to be alone. And so I'm going to make a helper for him. The helper is the Ezar, suitable companion. And then God tests man's knowledge by bringing all the animals to Adam to see what he would name them or whatever Adam called them. That was their name. But for man, it was not a suitable companion. So then what God does is that he puts the man to sleep and he makes the helper that is suitable for him. So now we have the backdrop. Let's look and discover. There are 5 foundational concepts. And if we were to take the time today to go through those verses and we look at it word by word and build on it, we would notice there are 5 foundational concepts that God uses to make man. Number 1, God made man to be an innovator. God created man to be an innovator. Verse 28 of Genesis 1 helps us to see that as well. Man was made to be an innovator. He is a creative. All of us are creatives. Whether you specialize in art or in music or in words or you're a lyricist or whatever it might be, or you're industrial, all of us are creative in whatever fashion that God has formed you in. There are blank canvases all around us in technology and culinary and clothing design, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. And you have to decide to begin to work that blank canvas and bring forth the creative side of you to demonstrate the resources that have been deposited in you. An innovator is someone that introduces, establishes, and enlarges. Number two, the Lord formed man to be a provider. Now, when I'm saying man, the word man is Adam, by the way, and it refers to all mankind. So I'm not being gender specific today and referring only to males. By the way, when you track through Scripture, you would notice that the woman did not get her name until after the fall. Then she was called Eve. The Bible says they were called Adam. The male and the female were called Adam, so they were called man. And so I'm using that basis today and not specifying the Adam and Eve, but just mankind in general. So man was made to be a provider. When Genesis 1:28 was spoken, it was not spoken to the male part of man, it was spoken to the male and the female. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, to do it, have meaning. Number three, man was formed to be a leader. He was formed to be a leader, having vision for growth and productivity. So God put the garden in front of him, and man was to take the garden, maintain it, but also enhance it. He was to enhance the garden. That means inside of every single one of us, there is a developer in you. There's a developer in you. You have the power to not only take something and maintain it, but you have the power to enhance that thing and begin to develop it, make it better than what it is. You're a visionary leader, so you can look past where you are and begin to use resources that you have. Number four, man was designed with intelligence, providing and having discernment, as well as also integrity and equity. So all of us have a measure of intelligence with which we were created. There is understanding and knowability for all of us. So all of us have a sense of knowing. Isn't it amazing that a baby, that baby is born, and it's not uttering out words, but the baby has a sense of knowing mom, a sense of knowing dad. You put that baby in the arms of someone else, baby starts to cry because the baby knows. It knows mom, it knows dad. And you take the baby, put it in the arms of mom again, and it's like, put it in the arms of dad again. It's like this sense of relief that comes. Why? The baby was, because man was created with a sense of knowing, with knowing, so he has intelligence. And then number 5, God created man, fashioned him with substance. God put substance all around the man, but he also put substance in the man as well. So you have the ability to bring forth. You have resourcefulness in you. You have adaptability in you. There is wealth inside every single person here. So these are the foundational divine qualitative concepts that God used in making the man. And these concepts reveal actually who man is. If we were to give a working definition to man, a biblical, theological concept that describes man, it'd be this. Man is a created terrestrial spirit being with moral judgment, innovation, and intelligence bearing the image of God. Again, man is a terrestrial spirit being with moral judgment, innovation, and intelligence bearing the image of God. What we'll do in just a moment, we're going to break that entire statement down so you'll see it actually unfolded to see who man is. According to Luke chapter 3, verse 38, this man who was formed was made the Son of God. And again, this is not gender specific. It actually refers to a child or offspring. So it's referring to all of us. All of us are the offspring of God. We're the child of God. On day 6, when God created us, he made us in his image and his likeness. Therefore, we were to be the Son of God. We were to be the offspring of God. Every male child that's born, the man is already there. He doesn't have to wait. The man's already inside of him. It's just a matter of now, the male, he's in seed form, and that man must be cultivated. He must be developed. The man is already there. He's already housed inside. It just has to be nurtured so that now the man comes into full manifestation. With every female child that's born, the woman is already there. Womanhood doesn't come upon her. Everything she needs to be a woman is already housed in her. She must be nurtured, cultivated, developed to become all that she is to be. Again, the operative concept is be. Remember again, all of us are the seed. We're the seed of God. Being seeds, we develop into the fullness. So if you hold an oak seed in your hand, the truth is you're holding an entire oak forest in your hand. Not just a tree, you have an entire forest in your hand. It just needs to be planted and developed and over again, so that now the forest manifests. When you hold an apple, and many of you have chosen to eat the apples that we have provided today, you have in your hand an entire apple orchard in your hand. The whole orchard is already there. It's a matter of now deciding to plant it, develop it, so that now the fruit comes, and the tree comes, the fruit comes, and now the whole orchard comes. You hold in your hands the ability to give you sustainable wealth for 40 years. For 40 years, especially if you have a very delicious apple, those trees will last for 40 different seasons of producing apples. One tree alone can produce up to 240, minimum up to 275 apples. Imagine that. You can do your math. At today's market value per apple, imagine that, all that you could do with that. The unfortunate thing is that we often throw money away because we throw the seeds away and we don't work what we have. And so the power is there inside of you. Watch this verse here. 1 John 3 and 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God. Remember again, we are to be. In your English, you learned early on that there's two categories of verbs, just primarily. We'll keep it very simplistic. There's your stated being verbs, and then there is your action verbs. Stated being verbs are am, is, are, was, were, seen, become. Okay? Look for those in this verse. Beloved, now are we the sons of God. It does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. All right? These stated being verbs indicate continuum or existence. So let's use existence and continuum as an exchange for these words. The verse would read something like this. Beloved, now we exist as sons of God. It does not yet appear how we shall exist, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall exist like him. For we shall see him as he exists. Isn't that amazing? This kind of change that brings out the concept of the verse. Well, let's use it with continuum. Beloved, now we continue as sons of God. It does not yet appear how we shall, or what we shall continue. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall continue like him. For we shall see him as he continues. And so God is a continuum, and it doesn't yet appear how we shall continue. We don't know the full extent of that. But we know this: when we see him, we shall continue in the same fashion as he continues. Here's what we know about this verse. We know our present state. Right now, we're sons of God. Right? We also know our future state, and that is, it does not yet appear what we shall be. We are becoming. We are becoming. In these last remaining days of 2019, if you're looking for something to read, I'll just give Michelle Obama's book a plug for you. Read the book Becoming if you haven't read it as of yet. It's an excellent book. It's an easy read. It's not very difficult at all. She's just kind of giving you some things that occurred in her life. And what I took from it was this, is that you can look at her, and she saw herself as ever evolving, always constantly becoming. That was my take on it. And then what I also took is that she sees herself as continuing to become. She didn't see herself as having arrived as of yet, but she is becoming. And so for all those who want to rock with Michelle and be like Michelle, well then do what she did. become. Okay? Become. That's what you want to do. So we are becoming. This is potential. Potential is it's having and showing the capacity to become or develop into actuality. The idea is it is latent qualities or ability that must be developed so that now you can, which will lead to success and also usefulness. In other words, potential is realizing its original state of existence and its current state of existence so that now it can develop into and release its full state of existence, is the idea. The apple and the seed again. If the apple seed already knows it's a tree. The apple seed already knows it has apples. The apple seed knows it has seeds within its own self. It already knows this in advance. But it also knows, because that's its original state, but it knows its current state is just in seed form. It knows it has potential. All it needs is environment that is conducive for its full ability. And if it's placed in the right environment and allowed to do what it does, it will bring forth. You don't have to congratulate the apple tree and tell her you're doing a great job. The apple tree is going to grow whether you realize it or not. Hallelujah. The apple tree is going to produce whether you support it or not. It just needs the right environment. And you don't see people normally outside the apple tree and going, oh, you're doing a great job. Oh, you're just, wow, you're doing fabulous. It's going to produce whether it is congratulated or overlooked, but it's reaching its potential. And so I'm saying to you today that you want to become and release your full potential, whether anyone notices that or not. So what we're going to do today, we want to examine our original existence. We want to look then also at our current state of existence, and then also consider our full state of existence. Let's go. Repeat that after me. Who I was, is about to me, who I am. Hallelujah. Who I was is about to me who I am. Who I was is about to me who I am. Okay? And so let's do this. Let's release our potential. Last week, what did we talk about? Last week's lesson, somebody. Last week's lesson. Yes?
We talked about your circle of influence, who's at your table, and who's in your cloud.
Okay, good.
And although you cannot control your circle of influence, you can control who's at your table.
Awesome, good. Somebody else want to answer it? Yes?
Cannot get clean without agitation.
Okay, can't get clean without agitation. Yes. Somebody else? Yes, sir.
Bad company corrupts good
Oh,
habits.
it sure does. Bad company corrupts good habits. Good habits. And anybody else want to add? You want to add what we gained from last week? Good. That means that must have been an insightful lesson. You guys remember quite a bit from that? Yes.
That you need Judas.
You need a Judas at your table. Yes, you guys looked at me like, what? Are you kidding me? Yes, you need Judas at your table. Wonderful. So let's get started unfolding today. Our original state of existence reveals that we right now are sons of God. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. Right now, currently, we are sons of God. The Hebrew word for this is ben, and it's really interesting. So for those of my Old Testament readers, as you're reading through the narratives and you're reading a word that says like Ben Hadad or Ben Omri, that's the word Ben means if it's Ben Hadad, it is son of Hadad. If it's Ben Omri, it's the son of Omri. So that's why the whole Ben is there. So the next time you're reading, you go, oh, okay, light bulb moment. Ben, it means son. The word Ben literally means builder of a family name. It means fruitful. It means branch, child, offspring. In the Greek, the word son, it indicates child, kinship, fold, offspring, or seed. Now, our current state of existence shows that we are sons of of God. The prepositional phrase shows us that our sonship has derived from God. Our sonship has derived from God, which says, it indicates then that we are marked by the character of our parent. There's a marking there that suggests and shows who we are. If we're sons of God, we have his name, we have his DNA, we have his blood, we have his likeness, we have his character, we have his traits. When I go places, and sometimes I don't know people, they'll say to me, I know who you are. Sometimes we go, well, first of all, I don't know you, how do you know me? And they'll say, you're a Turner. You look just like a Turner. We have our features. If you put my siblings next to one another, you'd see that we are related. People tell my dad all the time, you cannot deny your children, because they look just like you. There is that strong resemblance. You have character like your father. And in this instance, your father is the Lord God, and you have character, substance that comes from him. Therefore, when we talk about sons of God, it refers to the fact that we are offspring of God, that we are the child of God, that we are the fruit of God, that we are the branch of God, that we are the builder of the family name of God, that we are the seed of God. Now, this really impresses me because the idea is suggesting that God must really trust you to allow you to build his family name. I'll give it to you this way. In Psalm 8, it's a wonderful psalm. It opens and closes the same way. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. He said his word above the heavens, and then out of the mouth of babes and sucklings. And then it gets into verse number 4, and it says, what is man that you are mindful of him, that you think about him, that you consider him? What is man you're mindful of him? And the Son of Man that you visit him, that you dwell or you interact with him. You made him a little lower than the angels. Now, it's an interesting translation because the King James ESV would use the idea of angels as malak, when the original Greek translation actually says el elyon. So malak means angel or servants, but the original Greek says el elyon, which means then you made him a little lower than the Most High. Suggesting then that we were made a little lower than God himself. And that God, and if you read the scripture, it says, and you put him over the works of your hands. Suggesting then or saying that God not only created us and made us lower than himself, but what God also did, he allows us to have dominion over or oversight of what he created. Just as one says God's work was good and it was very good, right? So then God, he must really trust you if he puts you over what he created, what he fashioned, what he did wonderfully. He must really have an affection towards you, to trust you to abide over his ecosystem. He must really really trust you to be able to maneuver through the solar system that he created for you. It's really amazing to see that. So it shows then just the honor that God places upon man and the love that God has towards man as well. In spite of how crazy we might be, ludicrous we might act, he would put us in this wonderful environment that he had made, and then allow us to operate therein. The Bible tells us, Psalm 115, verse 16, that the heavens and heaven belong to God, but the earth he has given to man. He's given to man. The term Son of God in Scripture has several meanings. In the Old Testament, it refers to Israel, but it also refers to heavenly beings. In the New Testament, it refers to Christ, but it also refers to the church, which is the body of Christ and the Son of God. Let's examine for a second, just the idea of man in his current state. We are the seedling of God. So let's look at man in his original state of existence. And going back to our definition, man is a created terrestrial spirit being with moral judgment and innovation and intelligence, bearing the image of God. So let's look at that. First, we see that man is a created being. He is a created being. He's a created substance. There's two operative words that we must examine in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, and that is the word make and the word create. The text says, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness," and then goes into, "So God created man in his own image." So make, create. Make, create. Those are the two words. The word make means to make something out of nothing to bring into existence. That's ex nihilo. So God brought something out of nothingness. The word make, let's create, the word make, it means to fashion or form as a potter does with clay. Here's the breakdown of that. When God created you, the part of you that was created by God, He created your spirit. He created your soul, and He did not use materials to create your spirit and also to create your soul. Yesterday, I was listening to a lecture from a group of physicians slash scientists who are and considering the idea of cloning. And the lecture was about the ethical issue in relation to cloning humans, that is. That's about that. Cloning humans. And ethically, is it right to clone humans? Do we cross a moral line? The lecture was talking about in cloning humans. One of these scientists argued the concept of conscience, and he was suggesting then that we've never, in all the years of looking at the anatomy of man, they've never found conscience in man. There is no area that suggests that this is the conscience of man. And he also argued the fact that conscience never leaves man, he was saying. So then the idea is that there's a sense of knowing, but knowing is not based necessarily, he was arguing on conscience. Whereas the other guy was arguing the idea of conscience, suggesting then that man has to have a moral compass to know right and wrong, and then that consciousness is that awareness of not only of himself, but the need to know between right and wrong. I'll circle back to consciousness in just a second. But your soul and your spirit were given to you by God, formed by God, created by God, and He didn't use any substance for that. But when it comes to you being made, God made you from substance that was already there. You're made from the dust of the ground. And God breathes into your nostrils the breath of life, and man becomes a living soul. So you are from the earth, as well as also you are of the earth. You are from the earth, you are of the earth. So God, He formed you out of the dust of the ground. This is interesting. The word ground is Adomai. Now, the word man is Adam. The word ground is Adomai. So He created Adam from Adomai. That is amazing. He created Adam from Adomai. We could get into that and talk about the word Adomai is red. The idea actually is red clay. That's amazing. So man was formed from red clay. We could even get into ideas of Esau being red and how he wanted the red stew. That's an interesting link, but we don't have time to chase that today. But it's an amazing parallel that exists there. Your legality in the earth is the fact that you are a terrestrial being. Okay, you are of the earth. Therefore, you belong here because the substance that's in the earth, the minerals that's in the earth, is in you. The earth needs potassium to grow. You need potassium to live. The earth needs iron to grow things. You need iron in yourself. The earth needs magnesium and manganese, and you need magnesium and manganese and zinc, and the list just goes on and on. So it lets us know that we're of the earth, we're from the earth, and the Bible lets us know in 1 Corinthians 15, from the dust we came, and to the dust we shall return again. So we are terrestrial beings. Let me just also insert this, going back to legality. Anytime a demonic spirit possesses a human being, they are breaching legality. Okay? They're breaching legality because demons were never supposed to embody human bodies. They were never supposed to dwell inside anyone. So the reason why they seek to enter and possess a human is that it gives them legal authority in the earth of which they were never supposed to have in the first place. Oh my goodness. If you get that in your heart, then you'll understand no devil is supposed to ever have authority over you. And I'll try not to go on my tangent here. So how dare us be so terrified that when we are praying for someone and casting that devil out, putting children out the room? Are you kidding me? Glory to God. Put the devil out, not the kids out.
Right.
Are you hearing me? Don't put the seniors out, put the devil out, because he was never supposed to be in there in the first place. It's our fear, that's why we're always trying to, does that make sense to you? It was never supposed, your legality is in there. So when he entered into that individual, he already was trespassing. You must give him his eviction papers. Does that make sense? Glory to God. We are afraid of the devil for what? Glory to Jesus. All right. I did say I was not going to do a tangent, so let me focus and keep it moving. The next part of you is that you are a spirit being. God is spirit. You are a spirit. Please note the difference. God is spirit. God is not a spirit. God is spirit. That's how he exists. That's how God continues. But you are a spirit. You're a spirit. So now, Jesus is a perfect man in that, the ideal man, because he gives us what man was supposed to be, both human and divine. Yeah. So he is the ideal man. He is the perfection of what man was supposed to be in the first place. God, who is spirit, breathed into man. Ruach. That word ruach is fire light. I love that. So it's air, it's breath. So God's breath had not only air with it, but it had light with it. So suggesting then that God breathed life and life in you. Life and life he breathes into you. The Bible says in Proverbs that the spirit of the man is the candle of the Lord. So when God breathed into you, he breathed consciousness into you. You became aware. Therefore, man became a living soul. The word soul means animation or animated, breathing. My favorite part is conscience. And so man became a living conscience. Man became a living conscience. Which brings me into our next part of man. God created man with free will. You are a moral being with moral judgment. A moral being with moral judgment. And so your sense of morality helps you distinguish between what's right and also what's wrong. It's your moral compass in the earth. I'll just interject this. When I am, when I'm looking at a candidate to vote for a particular candidate, I like to, it's just me, I just like to know what is this person's religious background. This is my take. I want to know the person's religious background because for me, that is a sense of their moral compass. Okay? It lets me know what is helping to guide, guiding principles for their life. You can argue Democratic, you can argue Tea Party, you can argue Republican, and so on and so forth. The reality is, let's first look at the moral compass of the individual. Because that moral compass, it ought to reflect the same moral compass that you have. And if it's not reflecting your moral compass, then now we have some issues. Does that make sense to you? So I'm not arguing Democratic, Republican, or anything else. I'm just talking about your moral compass. Okay? You don't want to hang with people that don't have the same moral compass. Yeah. It's a sense of what's right and a sense of what's wrong. We learned last week. Bad company corrupts good manners, a good moral. So someone with a bad moral compass will lead you into an area, because if their compass is off, it's going to lead you into areas where you shouldn't be, and it's going to ruin your whole sense of morality. Okay? Your free will being. Let me also say this, God help us. When God saved you, when He saved you, He did not force you to serve Him. Think about it. The Bible says, he whom the Son has made free, they're free indeed. Okay? That means that they're free and free and clear. So when God saved you, He saved you with no strings attached. He didn't save you saying, now since I did this, you owe me now. I got you out, so now you got to turn around and you're going to follow me. It wasn't at all. You should be like the leopard who realized he was healed and turn around and say, you know what, I love you, let me hang out with you. You should be like the servant who realizes that his master is so great to him, and he says, I want to be your servant for the rest of my life. When you realize how awesome God is, and the fact that He would save you in spite of yourself, I love that, and He would qualify you, knowing our weaknesses, who wouldn't serve a God who loves that way? He created us with a moral being with conscience. Conscience is a two-part word. Con means with, science means knowing. He created us with knowing, or with frames of knowing. You have frames of knowing. There is an awareness that each of us have, which makes us moral creatures and also responsible creatures. This power of awareness, intellect, and decisions enables man to discern what's right, what's wrong, and to suffer the consequences when he doesn't do right and do wrong. You've been learning moral boundaries all your life. From put that down. Don't touch that. That's too hot. Don't eat the cookies in the cookie jar before your dinner. You're going to spoil your appetite. And so you had all these rules, regulations that were building in your life, looking out for your best interest. And then some consequences were like, you're going to stand in the corner. They don't do that much today, make you stand in the corner. But there were a few of us in the room. We didn't get sit in the corner. There was the switch and the belt that you were familiar with, and so you had to suffer consequences in that way. Intellect enables man to discern what's right or wrong. It's the fact of your knowing. Knowing helps us to understand. Knowing helps us to understand. René Descartes, the French philosopher, says, I think, therefore, I am. He says, because I am a thinking being, then I realize I am an existing being. Because I have the power to understand thought, then I realize I, in fact, exist. So it is knowing, it is intellect that allows us to be able to know. From knowing, we add in sensibility, which is just a sense of doing the right or doing the wrong. Added with will. Will is now that decision to actually to do or not to do. Some things may not be a law to do, and you just have a sense of don't go down there. Don't do that. It's interesting, when you're watching a TV show or a movie, etc., and you'll see this eerie picture, this eerie alley or whatever, and all of a sudden you hear this music, which gives you the sense that something will happen. That's not right there. And then you find yourself, the person, run! You know they can't hear you. And you're trying to tell them, get out of there. And sometimes you find yourself tensing up. It's not even happening, and you're like, oh Lord. It's just that the sense that's there. But then the will, you can either trek in, and then for instance in the movie or the show, you see that person walking like, oh, don't do it, don't do it. They're exercising will. And some people run away. Same thing, they're exercising will. All of us have that ability to utilize will. All of this involves conscience. The next aspect is innovator. Man was created to be an innovator. Genesis 1:27 helps to underscore this concept. And God created man in his image, and in his image, God created man male and female. And so what I want to extract from here is in his image. God is creator. We are creatives. Okay? God is creator. Each one of us are creatives. So repeat after me. I am a creative. You are creative. You have the ability to take something and make something out of it. You have the ability to bring something out and make it even more beautiful than what it was. When God made us creators, there's two aspects of your innovation. And I'll give you like this. God established the ecosystem, but he also knew that the ecosystem had daily stresses. So he put man in the environment to deal with the daily stresses of the ecosystem. So he tells man, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion. This is what I call your feet on the ground innovation. Okay? Feet on the ground innovation. Or better yet, hand in the dirt innovation. Meaning then that God put material around you to deal with the ongoing stresses so that now you can manage and make the ecosystem continue on and thrive for you. Feet on the ground, hands in the dirt, innovation. But it also requires us to deal with, because what are our needs? What are the things that are going to take place? So he gave us dominion. He told us to be masterful. Dominion does not indicate dictatorship. It doesn't mean that you are supposed to subjugate people and make them your slaves or to manipulate others as well. Dominion deals with skillful mastery. Skillful mastery is learning something well and working with that thing to bring out its essence. Glory to God. So if you're going to work with someone and you have dominion, you're supposed to bring out the essence of that person and not demean them, subjugating that person to yourself. The reality is, we were supposed to bring out the essence of the earth and not be dictators over the earth. We're not supposed to be dictators over one another. Go on record, let me go on record saying, it is sin and shameful for us to enslave one another. It is sin and shameful for us to sell one another. Okay? That's sin. That's shameful. To sell a human being to another human being is sin. And it is shameful. You have no right to market an individual as a commodity to sell to another human being and subservient that individual. He created us to be thinkers. So here's what I call head in the clouds innovation. Head in the clouds innovation. Meaning that you're supposed to be, each one of us are dreamers, are thinkers, thinking constant ways to innovate and make something wonderful out of whatever we have available. Feet on the ground, head in the clouds. One of my enjoyable Sunday afternoon things to do is to watch Discovery Channel, but more particularly to watch Alaska, The Last Frontier. I know that's geeky, but I like it. They sound over there shaking his head, so he must be in the same class as I am. I enjoy it because you'll see the individuals who are on the show, there are things that other people have discarded, that they don't find useful anymore. But these individuals are finding usefulness out of somebody else's trash. And they're now taking it and they're turning it into something that is productive. I watched the dude take, some discarded material and make a diaper dispenser. I'm like, come on, man, that's what I'm talking about right there. And so it was amazing to see the resourceful. He kept thinking about ways to do something. So head in the clouds. And then he decided, here's what I'll need, feet on the ground. And he began to now bring the two together. You are an innovator, and so make sure you combine head in the clouds, feet on the ground, and bring forth and enhance and preserve and make things better. Lastly, in the area of our current state of existence, or original state of existence, pardon me, is that man was made to be intellectual. He was made to be intellectual. And as an intellectual, you have authority, you have reasoning, you have a sense of study and concentration. When I was in Chicago, I ran into some guys that were like me, and when I say like me, I'm saying that they were fellow geeks. And so, we're on the elevator, and they had a neuroscience convention that was going on. Now, when I heard this, I was like, "Come on! These are my people, you know." And so, the guy invited me to come early next morning, to kind of talk and stuff, and to view some exhibits. And so I did that, and I was amazed by several things. One, brain plasma, that always intrigues me. The brain plasticity and all these things. And then the guy was going and he was sharing that the human brain, get this, the human brain can live right now in its current state up to 500 years. Okay? Your brain right now can live up to 500 years. Is the issue though. Most people, their brain starts to harden and it loses its plasticity because we don't exercise the brain like we exercise the body. Mm-hmm. So the neurons and dendrites begin to harden, much like your arteries start to harden in your heart, decreasing blood flow. And so, by the way, your heart and your brain are related to one another. Okay, so if you have hardening in your arteries and your heart, chances are you have hardening in your brain as well. It is extraordinary to see that. So he's suggesting that you want to exercise your brain. And I need something about the individuals that I knew that were in their 90s. And these dudes were, and later I'm saying dudes, they were sharp. You ever met somebody who was like in the 80s, 90s, and they don't have dementia or Alzheimer's, and they can tell you, they know who you are, that they know, my grandmother next month, next couple of weeks, will be 98 years old. 98 years old. No walker, no wheelchair. Come on, Grandma. No cane. It's amazing to me. I can call her right now, and when I call her, she'll say, "Hey, Lamont." So she knows my voice over the phone. She's at 97, almost 98. She still lives by herself because she has that sense of reading. That's absolutely amazing. So when I see her sometimes, I'll rub her hands like, "Come on, I want whatever's on you, come on, let it be on me as well." Quite sharp in remembering. And so my point is, if you learn to exercise your brain, because that's how God created us to be. He created you with intelligence, and wonderfully you use that intelligence to be able to speak the thoughts that are in your mind. And you might be deaf, but you can still communicate the thoughts that are in your mind using language, sign language, so on and so forth. It's quite extraordinary to see that. Repeat that to me. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. Wonderful. Let's go into our next statement. Let's look at the current state of existence. And in short, sin messed you up. I mean, sin wrecked your whole life. It tore up your original state of existence, and we're still now trying to figure out, who we are. It makes us misrepresent ourselves, and it makes us not to be able to fulfill the divine assignment with which God has given unto us. Adam was made for dominion, but sin made him a slave. Adam was created with beauty, but sin made him ugly. It marred, it scarred him. Adam was created destined to excel, but sin regulated him to mediocrity. And unfortunately, we still find ourselves being complacent, just doing enough to get by, just doing enough just to make it, not really trying to exceed. one of the, this is just me, y'all, just me. One of the worst words for me is average. Are you kidding me? Why be average when you were made to be an original? God did not give you a distinct fingerprint from everybody else so you would be average. He didn't give you distinct characteristics from everybody else so that you could be average. So there's no sense in us just falling into mediocrity when you were never meant to be average in the first place. Sin caused man to lose out on his destiny, losing an inheritance, forgetting his origin, forgetting from which he came. He lost his name, and we're spending our time trying to remember who we are and remember from where we have come as well. Sin affected the identity of man, subjugating you to sickness and to loss and to death and to poverty. And the sad part is we are out of place in sin. Did you catch that? Okay? I'll say it one more time. Did you get it? You are out of place in sin. The unfortunate thing, you have made sin so common that it feels comfortable. Right. But sin was never supposed to be normal for you. Sin is abnormal. But we've made the abnormality common so much so we just expect it to happen. It was never supposed to be in the first place. Thankfully, through Jesus Christ, He came to give you your name back. He came to give you your mind back. Because the truth is, sin messed up your mind. You lost your mind when you sin. Oh, God. It's caused you to think negatively. It's caused you to think inferiorly about your own self. And so God will ask you to do something, qualify you, and you start second guessing yourself. I'm not worthy enough. I don't know if I'm good enough. Now, here's the, I want to show you how this is. I teach this all the time to you all and to others. I talk about how God has qualified you, how God has blessed you, and you're supposed to be. I tell you this constantly. I was getting off the plane in Charlotte on Sunday. I get a call from a minister who is renowned. I won't name drop today because it's not important. But this guy, he's quite international now. If I give you a thing, you're like, are you kidding me? So I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, what? First of all, how'd you get my number? How'd you get my number? Are you really calling me? So he's asking me to join him in this formal. Wow. And I'm sort of battling with, me? Why does he want me? You know, all this whole pool of ministers he could choose from. Like, why is he calling me? So I'm battling with this whole concept of, I don't know about this. Maybe he got the wrong person. Hanging from him, and as soon as the phone hangs up, immediately my sister calls me. Because I left her from her church, and I was heading home. And she said, "You make it to Charlotte okay?" I'm like, "Yes." And, "You'll never guess who called." So I started telling her with that, and then she says to me, "So why do you think that you're an imposter?" Like, don't say that. Why do you feel like you don't belong at the table? And I'm telling her, it's funny, I tell people this all the time, and now these same words are going to make the issue is, brothers and sisters, is sin messing with our mind. Making us feel like we're not worthy, even though God has qualified us in the first place. Right. So this next statement, I didn't write just, I wrote it for me and for you as well. Please repeat after me. God called me. God called me. In spite of my stupidity. I'm qualified to do this. I'm qualified to do this. He called me in spite of my stupidity. I am qualified. I really can. I can do this. And if God asks me to do it, I might feel unworthy. I won't do it. I may not feel like I have it in me, but if He sees something in me, then I'm going to step to the plate. And while I'm walking there to perform, I'm going to ask Him, show me what you see in me. And help me to see it in myself and begin to walk it out and fulfill all that you ask of me. Now, current state, original state is our final one, and that is the full state of our existence. The beauty of Jesus Christ is that He restored us. Now, look, get this. Jesus did not restore you to your full state. He restored you to your original state. He simply put you back in seed form again. That's all he did. Hallelujah. He put you back in seed form. Now, let me help you. He's not going to make you become. You've got to decide that you're going to become and work out what he's deposited in you. That's why Paul says each of us must work out our own soul salvation. So, but wonderfully, he gave you the Holy Spirit as a helper because he knew that you and I would suffer with the imposter syndrome, that we would feel underqualified, underdeveloped, underachieved. And so he gave us the Holy Spirit to help our weaknesses. Brothers and sisters, if God saved us and just left us here in the earth to come get us later on, then he is awfully mean. If he saved you and then left you here and on all the temptations that you would have, and but just leave you here so I'll come back for you later on, then he's a mean God. But if he left you here, knowing that you have the ability to deal with the ills of the world, and then using the environment and giving the Holy Spirit to bring out the best version of yourself, he's marvelous. Yeah, that's brilliant. And so I'm suggesting to you is that he didn't set you up for failure. He's trying to bring out success in your life. He's trying to show the greatness that's in you. Check this verse out. Ephesians 1 verse 19. Ephesians 1 19. It says, what is the exceeding greatness of his power that he has given to us who believe? Hallelujah. He gave you the greatness of his own power. He deposited on the inside of you. Okay? He used that same power to raise himself from the dead and to ascend far above all principalities and powers. Now, see this. And he put everything under his feet. So if he would give us the same power that he would use to raise himself from the dead, and that same power that raises him from the dead, that he used to ascend above every other thing in the earth, making him preeminent above all things, if he gave you that power, he gave you power to excel. Did you catch that? Okay? Now, repeat this after me. Since I have the Holy Spirit, I have power to excel. That's important to know. So he didn't set you up for failure. He gave you the Holy Spirit that you might excel. The Holy Spirit comes along to help you with three things. Number one, I use the scriptures for it. The Holy Spirit is there to lead you into all truth. Number two, the Holy Spirit is there to teach you all things. Number three, the Holy Spirit is there to remind you of all things, to bring everything back to your remembrance. The operative word through all of that is all. Pon. Pon means whatever, whenever, however, thoroughly, completely. The Holy Spirit will lead you into every truth. Whatever truth you want to know, the Holy Spirit will take you there. Hallelujah. And when you get there, the Holy Spirit will teach you all you want to know about that area. Hallelujah. And then the Holy Spirit will bring everything back to your mind, your memory, what the Spirit just taught you. So you are never without the ability to be able to excel. And I love it. You have the resident professor inside you. Hallelujah. He lives in you. And he knows that every single thing. So there is no subject matter that comes to you that you cannot excel in. There's nothing that you could do in life that could cause you to be deficient. You got to decide, I will achieve. So then, through Calvary and the finished work of Calvary, the Lord allows you now to begin to work the seed in you. And He gave you the Holy Spirit to do that. So how am I going to become? How will I unleash my potential? You must be intentional. You must be intentional. And here's how I'm going to close it out. I've given you 40 simple B's to help you become, okay? But you got to be intentional. So here's my challenge to you. Over the next 40 days, take the time to be one of these things and add one each day. Meaning, on day one, which is be purposeful, Be purposeful. And then on day 2, be purposeful and then be a good character. Just keep adding. And then day 3, do 1, 2, and 3. Day 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Day 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So don't just do 1 that day. Do all of them leading up to by day 40. You'll be exercising. You'll have all cylinders, all 40 acting at the same time. Now, my challenge to you is this. I'll issue to you right now. By this time next week, you should have come to 7. So I want to challenge you by this time next week to have completed all 7. Now, which means do 1 on day 1, do 1 and 2 on day 2, do 1, 2, and 3 on day 3. So by the time next week, you should have done all 7. Now, don't be the lazy student. Don't be the procrastinator and say, wait a minute, let me, I'm going to read the Bible says something, let me get all 7 members like say I did it. Don't be lazy. Don't be the procrastinator. Be intentional, okay? Be intentional. If you know that you have a habit of forgetting stuff, get some sticky notes, index cards, put it all around everywhere, so you'll see them and begin to do them. Because the more you see, the more prone you are to do. It's just that the whole suggestive selling concept. When you see it, you'll begin to perform it. I want to go through these very, very quickly. There are elaborations. You can read them on your own. I will stop to elaborate just only a few. Number 1, be purposeful. Be purposeful. In other words, intending your life to be useful and also be honorable. Number 2, be of good character. Be of good character. Policy without character is corruption. Did you catch that? Policy without character is a corruption. For my DC people who work for the government and around the government, please tweet that to the White House and the Congress. Let them know that policy without character is corruption. Number 3, be passionate. Be passionate. Number 4, be motivated. Be motivated. Number 5, be considerate. Take the time to be thoughtful. Think about somebody else than yourself. And you'll note that the more kind you are deliberately, the more considerate you are, the more grateful people will be around you. Right? Number 6, be attentive. Be attentive. Give full attention to what's going on, and don't become your own distraction. The reality is, your biggest distraction is yourself. It's not people. Your biggest distraction is you. You keep messing yourself up every time. You keep distracting yourself every time. Be attentive. Number 7, be emotionally intelligent. Number 8, be bold. Be bold. Number 9, be present. Life is in session. Are you present? Okay? Be present. Number 10, be authentic. Be authentic. Number 11, be coachable. There's so many opportunities around you, but you might miss it thinking that you can't learn anything. Be coachable. Allow something and someone to teach you even though you may think they're below you. Be coachable. A baby can teach you something. Okay? Be coachable. Be coachable. Number 12, be trustworthy. Be trustworthy. Number 13, be a listener. It's the most basic thing that you can do in life that will actually enhance all of your relationships. Take the time to listen, and listen without an intended response.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay? We have the inclination to, we are preparing an argument before the person finishes their sentence. Listen, be silent, and just listen. They might give you your response just by you listening, and all you gotta do is give your amen. So be it. You're absolutely right. Okay? So just listen. Number 14, be courageous. Be courageous. Number 15, be encouraging. Someone just needs that boost from you. Be encouraging. Number 16, be committed. Number 17, be strong. Be strong. Number 18, be enthusiastic. Hallelujah. So approach everything with a level of excitement. Number 19, be altruistic. Meaning then, don't just be a person of success, be a person of value and meaning. Value and meaning. Number 20, be productive. Be productive. Number 21, be cooperative. You can work good by yourself, but you work better with other people. Be cooperative. Number 22, be empathetic. Be empathetic. You can learn better about people just by having a measure of empathy. And so if you haven't done so, Google it, or whatever search engine you use, take an empathy test and see what your score is. Okay? Take an empathy test. That'd be some fun thing to do. Take an empathy test. See what your empathy score is. Maybe you need to work on showing more empathy to other people. Number 23, be persistent. Number 24, be courteous. That is one of the things that we are lacking today. And just know this, courtesy breeds royalty. Okay? Courtesy breeds royalty. Be courteous. Number 15, be confident. Confidence is not arrogance, by the way. Learn your craft well and perform it with excellence and humility. Okay? So if you're, Fred Hammond says that before he records one song, before he lays one track, he will practice that song 25 times before he lays one track to it. So he's perfecting the skill. He wants to be good at what he does. So you want to learn whatever craft that you have. If it's speaking, preachers, teachers, students, people know when you're educated about your material. Become the lesson. Be the entirety of the lesson. And you do it, we are honored that God would allow us to speak. But when you stand up, speak with confidence.
Yes.
Speak like you know the material, and be strong when you do that. Number 26, be kind. Be kind. 27, be forgiving. Be forgiving. Every person, every time someone does you wrong, you're ready to forgive and forget. Forgiveness is the gift that you give yourself. If you want to be forgiven, forgive other people. Now, keep in mind, people are always going to do wrong. Why? Because you are prone to doing wrong yourself. It is unrealistic to expect that people will always do the right thing. Because it's unrealistic to expect that you will always hit the mark every single time with yourself. Be forgiven. Be forgiven. 28, be moral. Okay? Be moral. 29, be dependable. 30, be curious. Seek new opportunities of adventure. Number 31, be understanding. Number 32, be memorable. If you're going to show up, make sure they know who you are when you leave. Okay? For good reasons, by the way. Not for negative things. Be memorable. 33, be calm. Be calm. Remaining still in chaos helps you to focus on real solutions. And so sometimes we're so amped up, so anxious, that we're missing the opportunity to actually learn. So be calm. 34, be adventurous. Opportunities begin on the edge of your comfort zone, so be adventurous. 35, be humble. Be humble. 36, be resilient. You are not what happened to you, you are what you choose to be. Okay? You are not what happened to you, you are what you choose to be. Number 37, be flexible. Be flexible. The strongest species and the smartest, most intelligent species are not the ones that survive, it's the ones that are most adaptable. So be flexible. Number 38, be solution driven. In other words, remember the end. Remember the end. 39, be focused. Set a goal. If you never accomplish anything, if you never finish a goal, set one for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see yourself accomplishing something. Be focused. And the last one is be the leader. Be the leader. Someone's waiting on you to step up. Be the leader. And if you are number 49, in line of 50, you're a leader. Somebody's behind you. Okay? The only person, in my estimation, who will never lead is the last person who is born. Because they have no one that behind them will follow. And in the assumption that their life is short. If they live and it's in that point, they'll be leading something up, someone that's around them. Be the leader. Others are waiting on you. Repeat this after me and we're done. From this day forward, I will never lose again. I will never lose again. I am becoming God designed me. Let's pray. Father, thank you today. You're absolutely amazing. And we love you. As we have taken the time to examine the original state, and then we've looked at now our current state, and we see how far we have fallen from that state. Thankfully, through the cross and your Holy Spirit, you've allowed us now to be reinstated to our original state. And now you place it in our hands, Lord, to move into that full state of existence. So I thank you, God. Today, Lord, we will not only work with you, but God, we're going to begin to work the working place in our hands. We will be intentional, Lord, about life, about our life, about becoming, Lord, what you have for us to be. We will be intentional about being the light of the world, about being the salt of the earth. We will be intentional about being the city that's on the hill. We will be intentional, Lord, about sharing the gospel. We're just going to be intentional. And I thank you, Father. I give you praise today what's about to take place in our lives. We will release the gifts you place inside of us because the world is waiting on it. We honor you now in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So I say to you, write that book. Write that score of music. Start that business. If you have one client, you have a business. If you only sold one product, you have a business. Do it. Do it big. Do it great. You have it inside you. Just because you're challenged doesn't mean that greatness won't come forth from you. Just because no one knows you right now, that doesn't mean your moment on the stage is not coming. David fought lions and bears before he ever fought Goliath. Lions, bears, plural, before he ever fought Goliath. And Goliath put him on the map. And then he was still hated for what he did. And they tried to kill him for what he did. But he learned how to live with disrespectful people and be honorable even though he was being disrespected. So when he became king, he could lead with honor. I'm saying to you, just because people disrespect you, don't become disrespectful. Right. Use these as learning opportunities and become what God designed for you to be. Amen. Let's prepare us to the Lord his tithe and bring him our offering. If you look for his tithe, just raise your hand so we'll be glad to assist you with that or for your offering. We'll give the upcoming announcements. Somebody that's on the YouTube Live and also Facebook Live, you guys can help us out. If you will post the cash tag, please, it's the $Z as in Zion, T as in cares, $ZT cares. That those who are watching can join us in this moment of giving. By way of announcement, trunk or treat is tomorrow. It's from 5 p.m. To 7 p.m. right here in the church parking lot, in the front parking lot, trunk or treat. So if you are donating candy, they're saying that they're asking you please bring that before 5 years. They've already done so. If you're utilizing your car or your trunk, please be here. I think it's like about 4:45. I think the time is, so that you can be set up properly right when it's time for everyone to begin to distribute the candy, etc. on tomorrow. Let's be a blessing to the community. It's a wonderful way for us to be able to spread the gospel as well. We can use this moment to share our love of Christ. And so thank you guys for doing that. That's tomorrow, 5 to 7. Invite your neighbors, your friends, your cousins, and them, your nieces, your nephews. Bring them all so we can enjoy this time together. On Sunday we go back to standard time on Sunday. And so for those of you who must enjoy your beauty rest and you need a good 8 hours, if you go to bed at the same time, you'll get 9 hours in. And so you'll have plenty of time to be rested and not only rested, but you can be on time for church. Amen. Church starts at 10 o'clock, by the way, on Sunday. So see you here at 9:45.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Wonderful. It's 9:30. 9 o'clock. Yes. 8:45. There's a, we can't start church at 10 if we come walking in at 10, that makes sense? We'll be here at 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9 Amen. God bless you. All right, wonderful. Election day is, no, y'all know me by now, we've been doing it for a long time, so, all right. Election day is November the 5th, and so please make sure that you participate in the elections, especially in the community. I know Aberdeen is they're having elections, so please join in where your community is. November the 6th is our National Fast Day. November the 11th is Veterans Day. November the 13th is Ministry Alliance. November the 20th is a senior luncheon, 12 noon here at the church. November the 21st to the 23rd is a DC Delaware Council, which will take place in Wilmington, Delaware at Highway Word of Faith. November 24th is Family and Friends Day. Asking you to invite your family and your friends. And the theme for that is well, the cause behind it is families blessing families. We're asking you to get your family together, buy some groceries to be a blessing to another family. That's what we're asking you to do. So collectively, as much as your family wants to do, get your family together. You may want to sponsor 10 families, 5, 1. It's up to you. But get your family members together, bring them here. We want families blessing other families. So let's do that. We'll bring them on the 24th so we can shoot to those who are in need. Thank you guys so much. On the 28th is our Thanksgiving holiday. And so the church office is closed the 27th through the 29th. Continue to pray one for the other, that God will give strength and grace to us all, and that the Lord will continue to prosper each of us. Let's stand. We're going home. Sunday is first Sunday, that's our time for building funds. Don't forget that. Let's raise I got in yesterday and noticed on my desk, some of you had October is Clergy Appreciation Month, and some of you had given cards and such. So thank you guys so much for your kindness. I do appreciate that. I'm honored to be your pastor. I'm really thrilled by that. I love what I do and love serving you guys. I hope you love me in return and appreciate, because I do, and you guys rock. And so thank you for allowing me to serve you these 18, almost 19 years now. Can you believe that? Since we've been here a while now, so thank you for allowing us to serve, and thank you for your kindness. You don't have to be kind, but when you do, it's always important to make sure you show gratitude, so thank you for thinking about me, giving this our Clergy Appreciation Month.
Love you guys.
Love you too, sir. Thank you, sir. Let's raise the Lord's tithe in our offering. And Father, we thank you for the opportunity to give. We bring your tithe and our offering. Bless us indeed. Increase our border. Let your hand be on us. Keep us from evil. We bring you honor and praise. Now the Lord bless you and keep your cause and face shine upon you. The Lord be gracious unto you, to this countenance and give you peace. In Jesus' name, amen.